Hello, Jade.
You gonna lurk a bit? Better than falling asleep? Hey, valid. Hey, but we all know it happens. I know that feeling. Welcome in. Hello, everyone. I am doing well tonight. I am actually in a weird mood. But that's okay. We're having fun talking tonight. We're having fun doing, yapping. Should probably turn the music down a little bit. It's supposed to be background music. Did I ask you how you were doing? If I haven't, how are you doing? Hopefully well. Hopefully you're doing good. Happy yap, do talk back. Hell yeah. Not doing well. I'm sorry. Wow. Yeah. That sucks when that happens. Especially if you can't really figure out what caused it. That's why it was such a big deal that we kept a diary for a while. Exactly. Stress can do that. A lot of people forget that stress can do that when you're diabetic. But we kept a food diary. And when we seemed to get like a handle on it, like we knew what foods were gonna do what. But then when like odd things started happening, again, we started having to keep a diary to see if things had changed. So that was what we did there. Oh, you got more news? Well, tell me later. Okay, valid. You know, tonight I was just going to talk about part 2 of yesterday, which is, you know, how not sure what to do to bring it down. Water. Not juice, not coffee, not, water. Water is what helps your body flush excess sugar in the system. It's actually one of the reasons why diabetics will end up with kidney problems is because they're not flushing that out. If your blood sugar starts going high, water. There is nothing else that's going to work. I mean, outside of insulin, obviously. You know, your medication, obviously. But if you're not wanting to go that route, water. Flushing the body with water is about the best you can do. Now, you're going to start having to pee like a racehorse, and that's okay. So we kind of talked about our responsibility in the world and how we often take too much responsibility for things we can't control. At least that was supposed to be the takeaway from last night. The fact that it's not our fault. We can recycle, we can do what we're supposed to, and if it's not happening outside of our house, there's nothing we can do. We don't have control over where that garbage actually gets taken. We can only have control over what we do. It's just like when we vote for an individual, we have no control over what they do once they're voted in. It's really hard once somebody gets voted in to vote them back out. So we can only take control and take responsibility for we did what we thought was right at the time. Now, on the other side of that, well, with abused power comes a response. You know, we talked about with great power comes great responsibility, and then how with no power comes no responsibility. when you have no power in a certain subject or something, or beyond your doors, you have no responsibility for what happened. There's no point in sitting there arguing with somebody online about it. There's no point in letting it drain our energy. There's no point. You know, and I don't care what side of the fence anybody's on. I really don't, because I don't like any of it. Our whole thing that we have going on right now needs to be fixed. Our political system is broken. I mean, the very fact that we're told that how do I put this? That a third party, that voting for somebody outside of the two norms is useless, is a lie. Because if enough people do it, you have everything you need. You have the response, you know, you have the person, you can get a third party. Doesn't matter. You cannot keep thinking, we cannot keep thinking that there's not more like us. It doesn't matter if it's not enough. Hear me out. Say you don't like either party's candidate, so you just vote party. You know, like, oh, well, I'm usually a Democrat, so I vote Democrat. What are you doing? You're giving more. Well, that's what we're told. People are too apathetic because they don't see a way to change things. Because they keep being told that they don't matter. That this third party idea doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because we keep being told it doesn't matter. Because we keep believing that lie. That's how you kill the momentum of any kind of project. Hell, in my opinion, one of our greatest presidents we ever had was a third party candidate. It's worked in the past. It can work again. And that was Teddy Roosevelt, by the way. He was what was called a bull moose progressive. Kind of basically what we would consider right down the middle today. Neither real Democrat nor really a Republican. He was all for changing things over here, but conserving things over there. You know, that bull moose party was probably the perfect party for modern America. Again, Teddy Roosevelt was way ahead of his time. Like, it's amazing to understand how far ahead he was ahead of his time. You know, the more I learn and the more I study about what he did in his years is amazing. I mean, everybody sees him as the man's man, but he was also really pushing for, you know, conservationism. You know, the national park system. He was really pushing for, I don't want to say equal rights, but he was much more in line with that idea. Like, I don't think he really pushed for that. I mean, but, you know, I'm just saying that the timing on what he was doing at that time was very progressive for the era. So we've talked about the limits of our responsibility. So with that original phrase, with great power comes great responsibility. The core idea there is that anyone holding power has a duty to use it wisely. But let's be real. They don't. Or some do, some try, but the vast majority, they don't. They don't use it wisely. But when this happens, I'm going to offer a new phrase. With abused power comes a response. So what are our options when institutions, corporations, or systems push too far? First off, let me make the ones who do get buried. Yeah. First off, I want to make it very abundantly clear. None of what I'm talking about involves any form of violence. That will not work. All you're doing is creating a martyr. Period. You're making them be the underdog, the one who people vote for, the one who people push for. That's what you're doing. You're setting them up to succeed in the future. So you only use violence in defense. If you're being attacked, obviously defend yourself. But you don't preemptively strike. Well, and look at how much harder it was But also, that could be construed as a defense at the time. That tea in the harbor was a defense of the actions that were happening. The destruction of what was becoming the American way of life. Yeah. I mean, as long as you're not harming anybody, yeah, dispose of their stuff, you know, make sure that you're not making martyrs. But we do have the right to peaceful protest. We have the right to contact those in power. We have literally a ton of non-violent ways to make ourselves heard, i.e. tea in the harbor. So, but my personal favorite is hit them where it hurts, their wallet, like putting tea in the harbor. Stop using the products. Stop giving them the one resource they literally cannot survive without. We have the right, but protesters get hurt. Yes. That's the risk you take when you are protesting a power more powerful than you. What's up, Nine Tails? How you holding up? I know it's been a rough day. Glad you could make it in. As good as you can? Yeah. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to bring it up. If you want to talk about it, you can talk about it, but I'm not going to push it. But these companies survive on your engagement. So you stop using their products. You stop giving them engagement. Yeah, that might mean skipping a movie that you're really looking forward to. It might mean passing on that shiny new phone upgrade. But when a company abuses its power, continuing to feed them your money and attention just signals you're fine with it. I don't want to call it complacency or complicit, but it borders on that, in my personal opinion. Yeah, Sony, yeah. See, that's peaceful protest. Shut down their site. Oh, a sit out? No, I didn't know that. Well, I mean, one, Sony's lying to everybody. Oh, 85% of our product sales are digital. You're lying. Flat out, you're lying. Sure, maybe only 15% was not using for a day. I succeeded in that. I don't think I used any Sony products today. I don't think I have any. That's not intentional, it's just I don't think I have them. But here's the thing. Don't just leave a quick comment on a video like a whole lot of people do. Hey, what's up, Juice? Long time no see. Don't leave a comment on a video just saying, oh, bring back physical media. Yeah, sure, there is some pushback on that. But you really want to piss them off? Write a physical letter and send it to them. Sure, one person, you might get round filed. Busy work. Hey, I get that. And if you don't know, round filed means thrown in the trash can. But what happens when their mailroom gets 2,000 letters? They know people are pissed then. Writing the physical letter is almost like 10 comments on a video or 100 comments. I don't know how they register it anymore, especially in today's day and age when most people don't send physical things. This shows that you were pissed off enough in writing the letter, whether you typed it out or printed it up, or typed it out and printed it up, or wrote it handwritten. And it doesn't even have to be that complex. It's like, hey, Sony, bring back physical media. I hate that you're taking it away. That's it. That's all you have to do. You don't even have to put a return address on your mail. They don't even have to know it came from you. But you had to write it out, you had to mail it, you were pissed off enough to walk down the street to wherever you drop your mail, or go to the post office and buy a stamp and put it in. That shows commitment to the problem. We have to show that we are committed. It's not just, so many people just want to get, write out some signs and stand out in front of a corporation. The problem is that people can't do that for long. That's not a proper form of protest. It's not your first protest, put it that way. That shouldn't be the first thing you do. Everybody's they've got it all backwards. First, you have to really push for a systematic change. You can't just protest because, one, people have stopped taking protests seriously. When a company abuses power, what are you supposed to do about it? Company, government, it doesn't matter. When somebody is abusing their power, what is your response? How do you respond to it? And I'm watching all these people, and I'm not for or against anything, okay? Well, other than Sony, because I see that, I'm just saying that people overuse protests. And the other side always has, protests almost always end up in destruction. Almost always end up in violence, no matter how peaceful you started out. And I'm not saying who starts it. Sometimes it could be the law enforcement that starts it. Sometimes it's the protesters. Sometimes it's just a agitator in the back row who's for nothing other than anarchy. And yet the people that are protesting always get blamed. That's the problem. So because we're using protesting in that way, it's lost all its power. So what do? We go back to the old letter writing campaigns. Switch it over to your laptop. We go back to really hitting them where they see it, where it really hurts. Stop buying the products. Stop using their products. And I don't mean just for a day like the sit-in or sit-out or whatever they want to call it. I'm talking, don't buy it. Rockstar, don't buy the new game. I'm sorry. I was looking forward to GTA 6 myself. But if you're not going to offer me, if your pre-order physical copy is nothing but a fancy box that has a download code in it, that's not physical media. You're lying to me. And we handle liars way too easily anymore. When it shows them that real people are annoyed enough to take the extra step to raise the eyebrows. That sitting in these corporate offices, they're going, wait, people might actually be pissed off. They're not just venting their anger and then gonna go buy the PS6 anyway. They're actually mad at us when they do letter writing campaigns. We often, because we don't see what happens with it, we often don't realize how actually powerful that is. And like I said, the letter you write doesn't even have to be complex. It could just be, hey, Sony, bring back physical media, just like you would have done in a comment. Well, let's look at local issues. You don't want a massive data center taking over land in your town? Show up to the city planning meetings. Yeah. It's total tone deaf. Don't buy it. Like legit, I know it sucks. I know that it hurts when you have to stop. But it's dumb if you pay the price anyway, or even find, right, I'm just saying for anybody. I'm not accusing anybody. I'm saying that, legitimately, we have to set a bar. That they have to at least reach this minimum to get across to our wallets. We have to have that boundary, and we haven't been giving them boundaries in I don't know how long. But like I was saying, look at local issues, look at your massive data centers. You don't want them taking over land in your town? Go to the city planning meetings. Make your local council aware that these aren't welcome. Or at the very, very, very least, demand some strict conditions. Push for light, sound, and environmental pollution ordinances. Force them to build or fund new power infrastructure to offset the massive drain that they're putting on your local grid, instead of dumping that cost onto the community itself. Tech and entertainment companies doing the same thing, outright frustrating their user base. So, looking at you, Sony, with the push away from physical media. If you don't like where they're heading, like I said, stop buying. You don't have to boycott every branch of Sony. Just hit PSN. You know, stop using your PSN subscription. Stop buying new release on their platform. Don't buy the new PS6. Pinch the exact division that is hurting you. Like, go watch Spider-Man. That part of Sony had no part in PlayStation's decisions. You know, you want Sony to still be around. Oh, that's a tough one. Skull Candy's got great sound for the price. JBL used to be really good. Right, I balk at the prices of console and games now too. Like, one, consoles aren't worth buying anymore. Like, I have a little secret for you. The only reason why consoles worked for so long is because they were purpose-built for playing games. They didn't do anything else. They had unique architecture to push their graphics, their sound quality to the best that they could, so that for this price, it was cheaper than a computer. Well, now, I can buy a computer or a console, they're basically the same price, and I get more out of a computer. Like, even as much as people were giving a hard, you know, laugh at the Steam Cube, at the Steam machine, it's better than any console. You'd get more out of buying a Steam machine than you would out of the PS6. Right, but even sales are giving these companies money. Well, the Steam Deck too. I'm talking about the Cube. The Steam Deck's awesome. Like, you can even hook that up to a monitor. You can hook a keyboard up to it, and it's basically a mini computer. You know, it has all the functionality of a computer. It's, again, better than most people, you know, like, people aren't giving it the credit it deserves. Like, Steam's really done a whole lot with what they're doing. I'm not sponsored, I'm not affiliated, I'm just saying, I've watched the Gamer Nexus, if you know who they are, you know who they are, videos on the Steam Deck. Yes, exactly. For $300, you get all the functionality of a computer that is literally designed to play video games. I actually want to replace most of what I already have, if I can do it, with a Steam machine and a Steam Deck. You know, to replace what I'm doing now with those. The reason why is because this whole setup's bulky. It's huge, comparatively. I mean, I've got like a 3-foot wide screen. I think it's only like 30 inches or 34 inches or 33. It was a 33-inch wide monitor. I wasn't supposed to get that. I still swear up and down that Amazon sent me the wrong monitors, but I wasn't going to complain. Because it says I ordered these, but I would have swore that they weren't, you know, supposed to be this wide. Oh yeah, no problem. You have a good one, Juice. You have a good one. Have a good night at work. Glad you at least joined me on your break. I'm not complaining. But, you know, like I said, Rockstar, I've already touched on that. I'm just looking at my notes. Sorry. So, the main takeaway about this, I want you to be completely clear about something. Inflation's not our fault. It's not our fault the game development budgets got out of control. These were choices the executives and corporations made. These were not our choices. We didn't make these. Even what we Our needs weren't what caused this. We didn't do this. They did. These are the choices they made. Most of us didn't ask for games that take $500 million to build. We just want something that's fun and entertains us for a while. I mean, come on. A $500 million budget? That's an absolute mess. It's madness to think you're going to make your money off of that. That is higher than the annual budget of some actual countries. I mean, I might be I might be wrong there, but I mean, still, that's a lot of money. Yes, it's movie money, and even movies aren't making money off of that now. They're literally not making their budgets back. And the only reason the game costs that much to make is because someone at the top blew their budget completely out of proportion to the reality of what the game could ever make back. That's their mistake. They expect us to foot the bill. They'll try to push out 10 massive bloated games in a single year and then sit around wondering why not a single one has made its money back. Well, guess what? People have a finite amount of money and a finite amount of attention. Nobody can buy or play all of them. Not if they want to make the money to actually be able to buy the next game. It's gotten to the point where I don't even know what games are coming out half the time until I see a streamer or a Let's Player actually showcasing it. The marketing has just become noise. The releases are oversaturated, and that failure in planning is not our problem. It's the exact same story with the annual flagship phone cycles. Sure, a tiny percentage of people have to have and actually have the cash on hand to buy a brand new phone every single year. But most people don't. Most people I know hold on to a phone for 2 years, 3 years. Some are 4 or 5. I mean, they literally use the phone until it just doesn't work anymore. Releasing a must-have flagship every 12 months, that's, again, poor corporate decision-making. They'll come out with some sob story about how their supply chain costs are up or how they have to participate in the hype cycle to stay relevant. But they created the hype cycle. They are the architects of their own mistakes. Yeah, exactly. Most people keep their phone until it just doesn't work. But like I said, they're the architect of their own mistakes. They built this chaos. They created the bloated consumer market. They budgeted their entire business model on the delusion that they owned 100% of your time and your wallet. They completely forgot that they operate in a competing marketplace and that there are 7 or 8 other massive companies that are trying to do the exact same thing at the exact same time. What's even worse is that these corporations or these companies increase their budgets to these bloated, ridiculous sizes. They've hired way too many people, and now they want you to foot the bill. They didn't plan for any kind of economic shift or emergency. These exact same corporate entities that love to preach if you fail to plan, you plan to fail, yet here they are, standing on the curb with their hands out, and they're expecting you to pay for their mistakes. And when the money gets tight, human beings naturally trim the fat, and bloated corporation products are the very first thing to get dropped. This whole conversation is about taking back control where we actually have it. It's about hitting the pause button on buying, subscribing, or engaging the moment these entities step out of line. It's about putting the leverage back into the public's hands, where it belongs. Anyway, that's what I have for this right now. For this concept, this idea. What do you guys think? That's where my head is at with this. You know, I really want to know what you guys think. Like, I want a kind of back and forth, if we can, about what this really means to you. Like, do you think I'm asking too much for you to, well, I'm not asking you to stop buying anything. I'm not trying to tell you what you should do. I'm just telling you that you have options if somebody's pissed you off. If you don't like the way the Starbucks, goo powder thing is aerated and people are breathing it in, you have an option. Stop going to Starbucks. That's at least one less drink that those baristas have to make with that powder. That's one less person or one less puff of that dust in their lungs. You do have an effect. It may feel like a drop in the ocean, but trust me, the individual has power. You have the option to just not buy. To move your money to someplace else. Even worse is, if this goo powder stuff that Starbucks is putting out there, which, by the way, I want to clarify something. It is not toxic. I don't care what those baristas said. Guar gum, xanthan gum, the gums that we've been using forever are actually natural products. Maybe they're chemically recreated now, but it's a recreation of the natural product. It's the silica dust that really harms the baristas. That's what they're breathing in, and it's cutting up their lungs because silica dust is basically powdered glass. You're not supposed to breathe it in. My dad died of that. Idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. That's scar tissue in your lungs. And I want to know where you guys would draw the line. Like, I know it's easy for me to step back and go, no, I'm done. I'm done with these certain things. I'm used to that. I've been doing this for years. When I watch corporations do things, I step back. I know a lot of people think I'm crazy for doing it. Oh, but you're missing out on this, you're missing out on that. But I'm not participating in an abusive cycle. That's all it takes for me. That's my win. I mean, hell, for the most part, I've been playing the same games for years. There's not too many brand new games that I actually like. There's a few. Pal World, Hightail. Yeah, that's all I can think of at the moment. I put my money where my mouth is. Hey, you can ask Jade. I legit avoid watching Marvel movies. I won't go to them. I might go to Doomsday if they actually seem to be fixing some of their issues. I don't know if they really are. But, the closer it gets, the closer I'll look at what it is. But I do put my money where my mouth is. I don't buy things. Like, here's another thing. I'm a huge comic book collector. Again, ask Jade. She knows where 1/10 of my collection ended up. I'm so mad at what comic books have been doing that I don't even want it back. It's like, nope. And there would at least should be even a signed copy of something in there, a Venom mini series #1, signed copy by the artist. I don't want it back. Keep it, sell it, whatever you want to do with it. Because the way they treated Stan Lee towards the end of his life, I'm not supporting that. Like, you really want to know the crux of my Disney, Marvel, Star Wars boycott? Things I grew up as a young boy in the 90s. Holy crap, that was my world. Star Wars, Marvel, Disney movies. It was the Disney Renaissance, Lion King, Little Mermaid. These were movies every kid watched. I collected all the comic books. I was mostly a Marvel guy, X-Men specifically. When I saw how they treated Stan, that the only company that contacted his surviving child was Sony and said, anything you need, let us know. Disney, with their mountains of money that they can throw at movies just to fail, didn't even send condolences? Yeah, I'm out. Fix that. Let alone how bad Disney has treated Walt Disney's surviving family members. You know, I mean, Disney, the corporation, as it sits now, is a steaming dumpster fire of actually caring about the things that they say they care about. I mean, they're supposed to be a family company. What have they been doing? They've been treating the families of their workers, of their founder, of some of the biggest names in their properties, like garbage. I mean, I know a lot of people don't know this because George Lucas has been really quiet about it. They didn't consult him really on the sequel series. His baby, his thing. Yeah, he sold it to him. But you think they'd, you know, I don't know, consult him on the storyline as where he thought it might go? You know, because he's the one that single-handedly made it the success it is. He wrote. Okay, not single-handedly. He had a lot of help along the way. Yes.
Hydrate.
But you understand what I'm saying? It's like this is why I stopped. This is why I can't conscionably really work with Disney right now. But if Doomsday is starting to fix some of those things, all power to him, I might go watch Doomsday. We'll see. You know, that's what I mean. I put my money where my mouth is. I don't buy products from corporations that I know are bad. Or at least that I don't buy from corporations that I can avoid that I know are bad. I'm going to still use Amazon, but from what I understand, they're doing a lot better with their workers. But I can tell you that while those workers were having a lot of issues, and I'm sure there's still more issues, but movement has been made on treating them proper. So I'm actually a little bit more free to buy things from Amazon. Walmart, frankly, if it wasn't for Walmart, I wouldn't have had as much money to raise my kids on. People can talk bad about Walmart all they want. But in the town I used to live in, they provided a large portion of the workers, or a large portion of the jobs for the workers. So I have no problem using them. I have no problem using them. Target, I avoid Target just simply because one of their managers way back when treated me terrible. I worked for a 1-hour photo inside a Target. That tells you how long ago it was. But I didn't actually work for Target. I worked inside one, but I didn't actually work for Target. And she tried to treat me like one of her employees one day. And I told her politely, out of public eye, right, you may not like Kroger. It doesn't matter. You have a job because of Kroger. There's not much else you can say about it. You're paying bills because Kroger. How are you supposed to complain? You know, I mean, what are you supposed to do? It's not like you're going to boycott Kroger. And that's what I mean. Like, there's boundaries that you have to make. But there's also allowances you have to make because sometimes, you know, for some people, Disney's, it's a no-go for them to avoid. Like, nope, I'm not going to avoid them because that's simply where I get 90% of my entertainment. Fair enough. Absolutely fair enough. Well, and that's what I'm saying, Ninetales, is like you can't really boycott Kroger because you don't really have a choice. It was like in the last town I lived in Centralia. You couldn't avoid Walmart. Because one, I actually personally knew the owner of the other grocery store in town, and I had several rude gestures for him. The guy was a racist prick that was actually married to a Hispanic lady. And he treated her like crap. And he treated his kid like crap because she was half. He treated his employees like crap. He had several Hispanic workers. who he wouldn't pay overtime to because he knew they were illegal, so he could exploit them. They couldn't call down anything. I was so mad at him when he fired me. Yeah, I worked for him because I didn't have a choice. I had a family, to provide for. I had kids to raise. So I had a job there. He wouldn't pay me overtime. I got injured on, I wasn't even on the clock. I got injured at work, at the workplace, because I volunteered to help clean it up after a flood. And because I wasn't injured on the clock, yeah, you have a Brookshire's, but Walmart's cheaper. And Brookshire's there's a few cool things there, but it's not really worth the price you pay. Like, it's not better quality than Walmart. They just have a few different things. But yeah, I wasn't on the clock, but I dropped a piano on my foot. It almost broke. Like, luckily it wasn't broke, but it was a bone bruise. But because it didn't happen on the clock and I had to call out sick for a couple of days, I was fired. Not for being injured. I was fired because I had my hands in my pockets on the floor. I voluntarily helped to clean up the store so they could start making money again. Volunteered. Because the sooner that store opened, the sooner I could get back to work because I needed the work. And because I got injured, I got fired. And they made a BS reason. And because they made a BS reason, I was still able to claim unemployment. But I had that medical bill sitting over my shoulder for a long time because I couldn't afford it. Trust me, it's not easy to avoid and ignore medical bills. But I did it. And I don't know how to describe how easy it is to see how terrible these corporations are. How easy it is to see that's like, yep, that's a company I don't want to go to. Like, I'll be honest, I go into an HEB, I see no warning signs. Those workers look happy to be there. They look happy to have a job. Yeah, they're working. Yeah, they might seem a little tired sometimes, but they don't look browbeaten. They don't look desperate to be there. They look like they're doing okay. So I accept that that's a good place to shop, and they have some damn good stuff. So I can, if you ever get a chance, tell you to shop at HEB. And that's the best I can tell you. That there is good to be had there. Yes. Yes, Nine Tails. Yeah. Brookshire's is like I don't want to call it high-end Infinite, and welcome in, but it's like a mid-entry-level luxury place where they'll have like unique flavors. Like, I think that was one of the places that we could get real sugar Dr. Pepper in town. But it was like $8 for a 4-pack. It was expensive. It's a wannabe luxury grocery store. It's a wannabe Aldi's. Well, I guess Aldi's doesn't really count because I wouldn't really consider them luxury. I don't know what to say. I think you know what I mean, though. It's a wannabe luxury store, is really what it is. Yeah. So how are you, Infinite? How are things going? I hope you're doing well. Well rested. No, they were like 16 ounces, not even a full 20. They were glass bottle. Vampire Hours got you again? Yeah, they kind of got me again last night. because I have another thing we're going to start and talk about again, which I'm probably going to take my break a little early. I'm going to go ahead and run the ad now so I can get back and we can talk about, the cost effects and the reality of mass surveillance and why it makes no sense. It makes no sense why we're funding it, why we're putting so much into it. Okay, so I'll be right back. I'm sorry to hear that, Ninetales.
When the time passes after it is done kicking our asses, we will still be here standing with our peers. The ground wet with our tears, new purpose in our days, new ways done in our ways. Our time to act may not be now. Make your plans, show them how in time we shall rise, shine with our proudest highs, for we mentored our time. Voices ringing with a new chime. That is the way to shine a new day. Follow the plan, stand your ground. Your blues will not be found, for it has passed. For all the mess, standing shoulder to shoulder, unmovable like a boulder. Waiting here, sitting here, can't do nothing but fear. This feeling grips my soul. This feeling takes its toll, even though it kicks my ass. I know this too shall pass, this too shall pass. It has passed, it has passed. Ooh.
And I'm back. Wrong one. There we go. I'm here. I promise. Oh, okay, so... Yes, I'm such a professional. So, we'll just start. In recent years, roadside surveillance technology has expanded rapidly across American municipalities. Solar-powered posts, automated license plate readers. It should have. Yeah, it did. You still subbed? But automated license plate readers, high-definition cameras now line the suburban streets and municipal intersections. Well, that's why you never saw the ad. That's why I leave music running and a Be Right Back screens, because some people are subbed and I want to at least give them something. So, to many observers, this dramatic expansion suggests a society responding to an unprecedented wave of criminal activity. However, national crime data presents a striking paradox. This infrastructure boom has coincided with a period when overall violent crime remains near multi-decade lows. Like, crime is literally less than it used to be. And yet we're expanding these cameras like we need all of this. Like, oh my God. Crime's at decades lows. We had a minor spike in, well, I'll get to it. But I was analyzing the expansion of the automated camera networks. You know, because there's multiple. I mean, people talk about Flock, but there's Axon, there's other companies. But mostly it's Flock and Axon. So these deployments are largely costly, technology-centered reaction to staffing shortages. One that introduces a significant psychological, operational, and fiscal complications while distracting from more effective human-centered safety solutions. Human-centered. So to understand the paradox, I need to give you a statistical baseline, a 20-year context, if you will. So we first examined the trajectory of American crime statistics over the past several decades. Contrary to widespread public perception, the overall violent crime rate in the United States is significantly lower today than it was 20 years ago, and drastically lower than the high water mark of the 70s and 80s. Throughout the 70s and 80s, which was driven by demographic shifts, widespread environmental lead exposure, and the rise of illicit drug makers, violent crime surged to historical peaks, which topped out in the early 1990s at roughly 750 violent crimes even, per 100,000 residents. Which followed was a historical decline throughout the 90s and into the early 2000s. Violent crime rates dropped by more than half, while the nation experienced a sharp, sudden surge in homicides during the 2021 pandemic period. But that spike was short-lived, and the rates rapidly dove back down to pre-pandemic baselines over the subsequent years. Today, a citizen is roughly half as likely to be the victim of a violent crime compared to the late 80s. This reality raises a fundamental question. If overall violent crime is at a relative low point, what justifies the massive financial and social investment in ubiquitous surveillance? Here we go. This is where we start getting to the meat. I wanted the statistics. I wanted you guys to know that we're basically half as likely to be subject to a crime as we were in the 80s. You know, I mean, that really should explain a lot. Spike in violence near some local bars. Cities' responses to narrow in focus. They've gone after liquor licenses without. So what? You're gonna force a new speakeasy? You're just gonna drive the crime someplace like. All you gotta do is uptick the enforcement. Have officers do more often checks. So, the rapid expansion of surveillance hardware was not directed by a centralized federal mandate or any kind of conspiracy. Because a lot of people talk about how, oh, it's surprising that all of these cameras are coming out just as Trump becomes president. And there's several conspiracies that he's driving it or that the other side is driving it to make him look bad. The reality is you don't just roll these out within a month. Well, and that'd be fine. Like, I agree with alcohol-free, clubs. One, While I am not a person to sit here and tell anybody what to do, drinking is not really conducive to anything. Like, I'd like to have a drink every once in a while too, but it's nowhere near enough to keep a bar in business. That's what I mean, is you're driving it to a speakeasy type place, a place where the cops don't know. But you're not gonna stop people who wanna drink. So instead of, cracking down on liquor licenses and stuff like that, what you really should be doing is have the cops patrol more often. Catching bartenders who overserve, catching patrons who decide to overdrink and start fights. You get the troublemakers off the board, and then more people can have fun. I'm sorry, but police and enforcement is an integral part of the business. You have to have police, you have to have laws. And if you have laws, you have to have somebody to enforce those laws. You can't defund the police and expect the laws to still be followed. I'm sorry. That's not a solution. You change how the police, yes. I mean, a police officer should not be responding to a mental health crisis. Okay. You should have a special division of trained officers who handle mental health crisis. You have officers that are trained. Exactly. Why not just have an officer who, instead of relying on the bar for a bouncer, have an officer at the bars or within a certain neighborhood? Hell, concentrate your bar, offer companies and such to move the bars all to one strip, one area of town. Instead of a red light district, have the booze light district. You have a district for bars. You have cops that patrol that area whose whole job is to keep it tame. Well, of course shit's still gonna happen. Yeah, Booze Town. I mean, have something like that. Like other countries have that. You have places, divisions, districts in your city for certain things. This isn't hard. You organize. But you also have to enforce those rules. So you have officers inside Kroger and shit still happens. Gee, I wonder why. Because they're not enforcing the rules. They might arrest somebody for shoplifting or whatnot. They take them down, book them, and then immediately release them and send them back, and they'll just do it again because they had no punishment. And I'm not talking like just lock them up. No. You have punishments to fit the crime. Two people fighting outside of the Kroger, suddenly they have to work together the same shift as bouncers at Kroger. And each fight they fail to stop increases the time that they have to do so. And if it is found that they are not doing their job, and they're actually allowing this because they think it's funny, see, they're not enforcing the law. Yeah, but it doesn't matter if the cops aren't arresting the person and actually doing something about it. It's not about trespassing. It's about, it doesn't matter how draconian the law is. Oh, over $500, it's a felony. It doesn't matter. With inflation, that's somebody's week's worth of groceries. And if somebody's stealing food, they're hungry. Food isn't something you resell very often. I'm sure that there's people do, but food's something you steal because you're hungry. Right. which I don't understand if you have cops that are there to do their job. But no, most of the cops you see, because they're terribly trained, because they don't take respect in their job, they just stand there like this. So checked out, they're not even paying attention. Which doesn't make any sense. Is your job security? Right, no, I understand that, but I'm saying that it doesn't matter how draconian the laws. Okay, you're right. Yeah, they're probably on their phone most of the shifts because most people can't not have this. It's ridiculous. Leave your phone. Like, you should not have your phone on you at work. Put it in your locker, or no, don't leave it in your car because somebody's going to steal it. But you shouldn't be taking it out and looking at it. So your job is deterrence. Yes. Oh, that's right. You were you did work security before, so you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I love that dichotomy in security. Oh, your job is to deter the criminals. Yeah, but you also get on my ass if I actually confront them because you don't want to pay for the medical bill if I get injured on the job. Right. They want you to do something except for do something. Because the chance that you do something might actually end up getting you hurt. And they don't want to pay for the medical bill and the workplace accident. Trust me, I know it's why I quit doing security. They didn't want me to do my job. They wanted me to look like I was doing my job. You know, and that's largely the problem. Is one, people don't want to enforce the laws that are on the books. They want to make new laws, but they don't actually want to enforce those either. They want to make it look like they're doing their job without actually doing their job. Hey, what's up, Greenie? Over in YouTube land. It's ridiculous. But here we currently have, these venture-backed technology startups like Flock that have popularized low upfront costs, software as a service business model. Yes, even our municipalities are getting butchered by subscription fees. So rather than forcing cities to spend the tons of money, yes, they want roadhouse security with Paul Blart procedures. Thank you, Greenie. That is a wonderful explanation. God, my nose itched. So, basically, they're marketed as force multipliers, capable of replacing missing patrol officers that they're not affording to put into business. So, what happened was there was the socio-political fallout and civil unrest of 2020. We know what I'm talking about. Law enforcement agencies across the country have faced severe recruitment and retention deficits. Even where the police budgets remained intact or grew, departments lost hundreds, if not thousands, of veteran officers to early retirement and saw prospective applicant pools shrink. They're now facing severe operational deficits. Municipal leaders look for rapid fixes. Enter software as a service. See, and here's my problem. If these people were really that worried about police enforcement and having it work for them, and that you have to go work for the police. Go get the job. Go do the thing. If you don't like the way it's being done now, go into it. Do the job. You know? What's wrong with that? But they're missing these patrol officers. So, yeah, people want to complain, but they don't want to step up. They don't want to do the work. They want to tell somebody else to do the work. But now with all the Flock flare-up, everybody's saying, get the Flock out of here and all of that. Well, Flock was a fall guy. It was literally intended to just be, that's why they put them up on temporary poles. None of those poles were intended to stay long. That's something that hit me. It was all a shine because they were really just waiting for Axon. You know, the guys that already do their body cams, already do their license plate readers in the cars. And so Axon is now absorbing or competing in the space by bundling plate readers into existing police evidence software. The departments are now locked into perpetual subscription costs funded directly by local taxpayers. Yes, we're paying for crap we don't want. Right, there's never enough social workers. I'm talking about police officers, social workers. If you hate what's happening, hell, some of these people need a job. I mean, if you're on unemployment or EBT and need a job, why not work for unemployment or EBT? You know, you complain about the amount you get, maybe you should do something about it. Or the fact that some people get a lot more than others, do something about it. Start working in the division. Maybe find out why these loopholes exist. Maybe find out that your view of it is wrong. But if you're right, you might be able to fix it. You might be able to make things better, not just for you, but for everybody. But like I said, we're paying for these things. But here's the unintended consequences. And despite claims that mass surveillance increases public safety, passive camera grids introduce severe psychological and civic side effects that, they undermine community well-being. They're actually making our communities worse and more likely to be more violent. First, the ubiquitous monitoring fuels a subtle panopticon effect, which generates heightened public anxiety. Seeing blacked out camera pods and warning signs at every intersection, well, it's a silent cue. It's a psychological problem. It's telling you that an area is dangerous. You know, they wouldn't have put the cameras up, you know, if there wasn't a need. So this area must be dangerous, so I gotta be more on my guard. Which also makes you less likely to talk to your neighbor. Except for that's not real. The license plate scanners are more likely to just find stolen cars. That's it. Oh, they watched Demolition Man. The only problem is they thought it was a how-to guide. So second, mass camera deployment risks creating a technological bystander effect. What this means is that you won't report a crime because you think the camera caught it. Hell, don't be sorry. You won't report the crime because you assume it was already caught. I haven't got there yet, Ninetails. Wait for it. So, with this all-seeing eye constantly recording, victims, witnesses were less likely to report the crime or come forward with crucial qualitative data under the false assumption that the camera caught it. But most of these roadside cameras are passive logging tools rather than effective monitored live feeds. So this reliance leads to underreporting, critical delays, and emergency responses. So what I mean here is that because you assume, they're passive. They have to dig through the information. Yes, exactly. The mob mentality, the bystander effect. But finally, and here's where you come in, Ninetails, these systems suffer from rapid deterrence decay. Multiple ways. First, physical hardware outdoor degrades quickly. Lenses smudge, batteries fail, municipal maintenance backlogs leave. Substantial percentage of the roadside nodes non-functional. So, when I was a kid, we had these camera boxes installed in all of the buses. But we only had so many cameras, but we had more buses than cameras. So there was this rotating concept that the camera, at any given time, the camera was in one of the buses and we didn't know which one. So instead of making us more afraid that the camera was there, the assumption is that the camera was never there. So we just did whatever the hell we wanted anyway. So once the public realizes that the system is largely security theater, any lingering deterrence effect vanishes, leaving behind an expansive network of empty shells, or might as well be. The reliance on these automated camera hits a primary investigative tool, they hit as a primary investigative tool, which introduces a severe legal and procedural hazards. Under the Fourth Amendment, an automated license plate reader hit identifies a piece of metal, not the person driving it. So it's not an active crime in progress. So an automated match constitutes reasonable suspicion enough to investigate, but not probable cause for arrest. This is why you'll see pictures or videos of cops confronting people at their doors, telling them how they just committed a crime, but they're not putting them in cuffs because they don't actually have enough information to do a primary arrest. They're trying to get you to incriminate yourself. They're trying to get you to say, oh yeah, I was there at that time, but I didn't do the crime. Doesn't matter once you say, oh yeah, I was there at that time. You're already admitting to being in the area, which means you now have means and opportunity, two of the two pillars of a crime: means, motive, and opportunity. And they can make up motive. Like, cops are real good at making up motive because they're trained horribly on investigative tools. They don't know how to investigate anymore. So, and here's my giving them the benefit of the doubt. Officers are facing heavy workloads. They frequently fall victim to automation bias. So they trust the automated machine rather than their own critical thinking because they have other things they need to do. Yeah, see, that's cases that are actually going through the court system now. Yes, I knew what you meant until proven guilty. But when the camera misreads an obscured character on a license plate, or when police database fails to clear a previously recovered stolen vehicle, officers operating under the automation bias, they initiate high-risk gun-draw encounter instead of performing traditional investigative work prior to the confrontation. These law enforcement officers are increasingly showing up at innocent citizens' doors, and they're forcing the residents to prove their innocence on their own porches simply because an algorithm flagged their vehicle and they know they don't have enough evidence to arrest. So instead of doing investigative work to prove them, yes, but Nine Tails, you're not arresting people. You're not holding people's future in your hands. You don't have a weapon on site to, if you think this person is threatening you violently, to shoot them. Your job isn't that serious. Being a cop is being serious. You must be a responsible, assiduous person in your duties to be a cop. You cannot be lazy. I'm sorry, you can't be. And these municipalities, well, here, sorry, I'll get there. So, automated surveillance networks function primarily as vehicle tracking systems. They demonstrate utility in recovering stolen cars, or when cops keep going to an address even though the POI has not been there for years. Yes, exactly. They're not doing their investigative work because they're lazy. We have trained cops to be lazy. That's what happened when we stopped doing, one, we don't pay them to keep up with inflation. We don't train them to keep up with current techniques. Like, they should be given more training, better training. You know, I love the cops, I really do. And I will give you all a fucking clue. Pardon my language. Respect the badge, not the person. It doesn't matter who the person is behind that badge. Respect the uniform until it stops respecting you. Understand that this person has power over you. They are a police officer. They are meant to keep the peace. They don't always, but your first instinct should be to respect the badge. They tell you to put the weapon down, even though you're not holding a weapon. Whatever's in your hands, you better damn well put it down. Nine tails, it could be a friggin' scanner gun. You know, one of those things you use. Cops sometimes confuse those for weapons. Put it down. There's no reason to argue that it's not a gun. Just drop it. You can always pick it up later. Yeah, your district is the districts are understaffed because we don't have people willing to step up to take the jobs. Also because their entrance exams, they're asking for the moon. Right, it's a Hershey bar. Don't tell them that, drop the damn Hershey bar. Get your hands out, you know? To me, it doesn't take rocket science. No, I thought that was for dramatic effect. But again, you know, where was I? Oh, here I am. Sorry, I actually have notes for this. So ultimately, automated surveillance networks function primarily as automated vehicle tracking systems. They demonstrate utility in recovering stolen cars. Their impact on preventing or solving broader violent crime is negligible compared to their ongoing tax burden. They're relying on subscription cameras. Relying on subscription cameras is an attempt to apply a technological patch to a complex human and institutional problem. A far more effective long-term strategy requires moving away from passive technological grids and reinvesting municipal funds into human capability, rigorous training, and community-centered safety models. Right? So first, we need to recruit and retrain qualified personnel. Rather than directing funding, they wouldn't like me there. Rather than directing funding on hundreds, yes, Greenie does have good points. Yes, Lord forbid your hands are in your pockets. That's like, because the training of cops are trained to make split-second decisions, and they're always trained to see every instance as a violent altercation. Every single one. Like, I understand the training. I've actually done the basics of the training. And when I realized that the training was pathetic and weak, and all it showed was that whoever came up with the training was a severely insecure person who had no idea how to actually deal with people, I stepped away. That's why I stayed in security. You're damn Skippy, I was a cliche. I was a security guy that was gonna be a cop. Because my ultimate childhood dream was to be a superhero. Well, what was the closest thing when I was growing up? Be a cop. And then I realized how piss poorly they were trained. I realized how it was garbage. They're LARPing as badasses when they're just civil servants. The whole idea is to be the good guy. That's what it means to be a cop. Is to be the hero. And it pisses me off that these cops are bullies behind a badge. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying every cop's that way. In fact, every cop interaction I've ever had but one, and you might be surprised at how many I've actually had, but I've never been actually arrested. All but one went fine. I had no problem. I mean, even to the point where they handcuffed my buddy who was with me, who was tiny compared to me. They put the only set of cuffs they had on him and left me uncuffed. He was probably this tall to me. Yeah, he was about that tall, and his thigh was as big around as my forearm. Yeah, he might have been taller, but a stiff breeze. He was being an asshole. Like, I totally understand why they cuffed him. Because he was being an asshole. But my God, they had terrible training. Because the quiet guy is normally the one that's going to hurt you the most. I was raised in a household next door to a cop. And that cop literally told me the one most important thing I have ever been told. Answer the cops' questions only with what they know. Never offer information they do not know. Cop pulls up to you, pulls you over, pulls up to your window. Do you know why I pulled you over? Honestly, officer, I have no idea. They ask that question to get you to incriminate yourself. Cop says, where are you coming from? Just down the road. Where are you going? Just up the road. Don't give them any more information than they absolutely need, unless they give you a reason. So I broke that rule one time. I had a headlight out. I had already been stopped by two other cops in the neighborhood. A city cop, say I was going through 2 towns and a county and on a state. Yeah, you don't have to give any extra info. And a state highway. So I was pulled over by my local police officer from the town I was coming from. I was pulled over by the county officer. And then I was pulled over by a state trooper. All because I had a headlight out. Now, they didn't have crapola on me. But they assumed because I was driving a 1978 Chrysler Cordoba, which is like this huge big boat of a racing car. I loved that car, by the way. They assumed that I was speeding. I was doing something. And I had gotten so tired. They asked me where I was coming from. I'm like, honestly, officer, I was just down to Denny's in Centralia. I'm on my way home, which is down this road. That's all I'm trying to get to. Oh, okay, I'll radio ahead, let them know that I've already, let the other cops, know anybody that's in that direction that I've already stopped you. We know what's going on, and you're gonna fix it. I'm like, yeah, I didn't realize it was out when I drove to, because I drove to when the daylight was on. I'm coming back at night. That's when I found out my headlight was out. Okay. And that was it. But I made the choice because I had already been stopped by 2 other police officers, different divisions, so it wasn't harassment, but I'm pretty sure they were trying to get me to tell them where I was going and where I was coming from. So I did, because at that point it was pertinent information. But anyway, rather than directing hundreds of thousands of dollars annually, in some places it's millions, toward tech subscriptions, these municipalities should allocate the funds towards competitive pay, lateral hiring incentives, robust retention programs to attract level-headed, highly educated officers. People that want to protect their paycheck. How do you get somebody to protect their paycheck? Make sure that they want to keep their job. How do you make sure that they want to keep their job? By making sure that they do their job effectively. Now, number 2, promoting civic participation in law enforcement. Real cultural reform occurs when a civic-minded, reform-orientated individuals choose to join law enforcement agencies directly. By entering the field, those committed to constitutional boundaries, procedural justice, they can ensure that the police power is exercised properly from within the institution. And we need mental health response models or alternative emergency response models. We need co-responder programs, dispatching licensed mental health professionals and medics to non-violent crisis call. This frees up sworn officers to focus strictly on real violent crime. This reduces unnecessary friction interactions between the public and the police. Or you also can, if the person is also a violent criminal in a mental crisis, you can put both. You have the mental health professional backed up by the police officer so that they can talk the person down, so that they can get them the help they needed and not a casket. We need also, lastly, invest in investigative and environmental solutions. Reallocating the funds for crime labs, digital forensics experts, street lighting upgrades. Man, you would not believe how important street lighting is to stopping crime. And just basic neighborhood revitalization. These actually clear more high violent crime than any other thing. A city that actually cares about itself does more to help people, does more to take out violent crime than anything else. And you're not subjecting your community to mass surveillance. So in conclusion, mass surveillance grids were sold to American cities as an efficient remedy for modern policing crisis. In practice, well, they're expensive, maintenance-heavy garbage. They foster apathy, increase anxiety, and risk violating civil liberties, which just means that you're going to spend even more money in courts on cases you're going to lose. This requires a sustained commitment to funds allocated to skilled, accountable human beings that are invested in the social fabric of the community they serve. I mean, we need to go back to patrol officers walking a beat, that officers that live and interact with the neighborhood in which they patrol. Oh, of course the union has too much influence on the ranks, Green Jeans. The union is just there to protect their officers, but now they're making excuses for bad decisions. The union should be more likely to hold their officers accountable, not less. You know, I mean, it's not just fear of the police, because the police didn't even start this. Yes, there are cases of them abusing it, absolutely. But it's the city council members, it's the mayors, it's the people that are quietly putting this into place without even telling anybody, without even letting anybody know it's even happening before it's too late. I mean, we used to be the land of the free, now we're the land of the surveilled. We gave up our freedom for security. Yeah. Oh, no, it's even more insidious than that, Jade. I didn't even go into that because, well, I thought it was too divisive, but fuck it. They didn't have to even pass it and have it pass scrutiny because the companies like Flock and Axon lowered the bill far enough initially to get certain places set up so that it was just in discretionary funds. So it didn't even have to pass through the city council's hands. This was commissioners, chiefs of police overstepping their bounds, abusing their power. Nobody voted on this. Nobody was even given the option, not even the city councils were given the ability to even understand what was happening before it was already there. Now they have these huge contracts that if they cancel them, they have huge bills to get rid of. It's like canceling a lease. What the hell do you do? You're already on the hook for the bill, one way or the other. And while I absolutely believe that body cams are important, absolutely important, police officers have to have those. Yeah, make those who agreed pay the buyout. Absolutely. Hold them accountable for the decisions they made. And make sure that you fire them on the way out. Make sure that it's them on the hook for the bill because they're the ones that signed. The city didn't sign the bill. Chief what's-his-hell name did. And I know I'm swearing more. That tells you how strongly I believe in this. How passionate I am about what I'm saying. That this is all just garbage. It's garbage what we're having to deal with because it's all about people that are too lazy to do the long-term solution. They don't care. These are the people that are supposed to care the most. Their whole job is taking care of the people that they represent. And I mean, how can a chief represent the people, chief of police, I mean, his own workers, when he's actively reducing their numbers and putting up cameras instead? That's no way to solve this problem. You know, it's the same way I feel about those ICE protesters. If you hate what's going on, go join ICE. Change it from the inside. Like, I don't honestly know. I don't really have a conversation with what's going on with ICE. It's nothing I've ever had to deal with. So I don't have an honest take on it. I don't agree with either side. Let me put it that way. They both have their pluses and minuses. They're both handling these things completely garbage. And that's my feelings on it. You know, I believe ICE is doing some good at the risk of doing some bad. Those protesters are doing some good at the risk of doing some bad. It should have never got to this point. We need to find out what the root cause was. And that's the same thing that I'm trying to do with these Flock cameras, with these license plate readers, because it's not just Flocks, it's Axon. And honestly, I couldn't find really any other company that's really like worth the crap even talking about in this market. Like, one, we should probably break up Axon because they have a monopoly. But they won't do that because Axon has them over a barrel. Because Axon holds all the evidence. It's their stuff. It's not like the police station has the servers that the cameras are being held on. That's part of their subscription. So if they stop paying the subscription to Axon, they lose their evidence. That's cases going out the window. They're literally over a barrel. You know, again, this is the problem. They tied us in knots. We need to fix it. I mean, if I was the government, I would seize Axon and make them, you know, I would literally make it part of the government. That would be a federal. Yes, it does. It is the land of confusion. Welcome in, Green Jeans. Welcome to the proper side of things over here in Twitch. And I'm joking, YouTube's fine. What I mean is just the fact that one, a private company should never have this much power over the police force. Private industry should not. We're halfway on the way to having a privatized police force ran by a corporation. If all of their evidence is controlled by a company. No, we're not going to fall under that cliche. Right? Yeah, I don't know how more or how better to say it other than just what I have, there is so much wrong with how we've allowed our police force to be taken over by private industry. The whole militarization of the police was literally government contractors just using the police force as a dumping ground of excess munitions, excess materials. It wasn't even proven on the battlefield. It was just like, oh yeah, this stuff, yeah, you guys can have it, it's garbage. And then you have a police force that has an overinflated sense of self-worth because they're getting all these special weapons and tactics, looking at you, SWAT, but no training on how to use it, on when to deploy it, how properly to deploy it. Yeah, don't get me wrong, SWAT's absolutely scary. They're highly trained in killing people. They're highly trained in taking people down. They are not trained in de-escalation tactics. They are not trained in deprivation tactics to hold out for hours and hours and hours. They're not trained to let the criminal burn themselves out. They're trained to take down the threat. They're not trained to protect anyone. And as much as I like Bruce Lee, they fall under the best defense is a good offense. Well, there's a lot of training and all the wrong tactics. Okay, here's the thing. They're trained in a hammer. When you're trained in a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. And sure, if you hit it hard enough, you can get a screw to go in with a hammer. Trust me, I've done it just to see if I could. But that's not the proper way to do it. A screw requires finesse, a certain twist. Sorry, I couldn't help the joke. Yeah, what better one is there? Or as my buddy used to say, sometimes you're the sledgehammer, sometimes you're the rapier. A flick of the wrist. Speaking of rapiers, if you don't know, most of sword fighting happens in the wrist, not the arm. Movies. We won't even get started on how Star Wars handles lightsabers because their combat is absolutely garbage to me because it should be wrist. The axe forgets, the tree doesn't. Exactly. And that kind of heavy-handed policing is why the police have become the enemy, specifically in urban areas. Why do you think a whole subgenre of music is centered around hating police? To the point where now they can't even think about respecting the police officers. That the very fact of following what the cops say is an anathema to what they think. I've known people like that. that their whole, like, they can't even think about following, just listening to a cop and just doing what he says. And you both walk away. And put it this way, I have been detained 3 times, handcuffed twice, had interactions with cops at least 10 times. I have never once been arrested, and I've only ever had 3 tickets, and one of those was thrown out of court. Like, the cops just, what I did wasn't worth their time. Because I followed orders, I did what I was supposed to, and I walked away. Got in my car and drove away. Even though at one point I was even handcuffed. I have never been interrogated. I said I had been detained. I never even have seen the inside of a police station. I've seen the inside of a police car. But instead of taking me to the station, he decided to take me home. And one of those times was me standing over a guy that I'd just beaten the shit out of. Two of those times was when I was standing over an individual that I had just beaten the shit out of. And both of those times, when I explained myself to the police officer, the police officers said, "Never saw you. Get out of here." When one was an abusive father and the other was an abusive boyfriend. I mean, the second one, I didn't even know the guy. Oh, you've seen the inside of a jail, but because you had to pay a speeding ticket at the jail, okay. Well, if that's the case, well, no, I've never actually seen the inside of jailhouse. Yeah, I mean, when you tell the cops that your girlfriend admitted to you that her stepdad was beating her with a wiffle ball bat up and down the back, and you beat the shit out of him with the wiffle ball bat to show him what it felt like, and you're like a 17-year-old kid, yeah, they just let you go. Especially when you have your girlfriend show her back where the bruises still were. Yeah, those cops didn't see me at all. They have no idea to this day who I was. Well, okay, so I've seen the inside of a jail cell because, yes, I did start doing the training and stuff. I got kicked out of what was called Sheriff's Explorers because I outshot the instructor in the electric light firing exercise. You were a little thief. See, I never got caught. I was actually quite the shoplifter as a child. I know that's probably absolutely hard to believe, but I was. I was absolutely brilliant at it. So much so that me and my buddy should have been on the camera at the same time. We stole the same things, shoplifted from the store. He was the only one confronted. He was the only one that was forced to give it back. I was standing right next to him, and I shoplifted the same thing. And because I knew he was crap at it, I actually shoplifted double so he could get his. Because I knew he was going to get caught. I have no excuse other than we were poor and we were artists, and I think it was when the Dr. Grip pencils came out. The mechanical pencils, and those came out. Like it was like the first year of them, and they were... Yeah, send in the clowns. Go ahead. Come on, shoplifting has a statute of limitations. No, I was just poor and wanted to be the best artist I could be. The punishment that my buddy got was probably the funniest thing in the world. He had to call his mom from the store to come to tell them, like in front of the security guard, that he was caught stealing something from the store. On speakerphone so she could hear, or so that the officer, or the security guard could hear her response that it really was his mom. Boom, done. Then he let him go. No lasting damage other than he never stole again. Like, he was so traumatized by that, he wouldn't take the second pencil that I stole for him. Like, nope, not taking it. Of course, it was a mechanical pencil. The Dr. Grip mechanical pencil, when it first came out, was like a $10 pencil. You know, and this is in the early 90s. Like, I think I was like 11 or 12. It was an all-metal barrel with a comfort triangular grip and a smooth action. Yes, it was literally chrome metal. It was an aluminum barrel. And underneath that grip, the Dr. Grip, was also a knurled barrel, you know, with the texturing on the aluminum casing. It had the hidden eraser underneath, but I also stole erasers. Like good erasers. And it was one of the few pens or pencils, mechanical pencils, that you could dial it to a certain size that could take multiple different kinds of lead, multiple thicknesses of mechanical pencil lead. Like, this thing was tricked out. I think it went all the way up to like regular pencil size lead and all the way down to the normal 0.5 or 0.05. It was an amazing pencil. Used it for years. It didn't make me a better artist, though, so there was that. Wish I hadn't lost it. I mean, I kept that all the way up into college. I was happy with that. But, I mean, you get my point. You know, they're putting all this money into a surveillance field that doesn't work. Not only that, not only does it not work for what its intended purpose is, but it's taking funds away from hiring the people that should be there to do the job. It's harming us. It's creating a surveillance culture to where we lose respect for the cops, we lose respect for the people, because they're not doing their job. I mean, to them, it's not even worth doing their job for. They'd rather let a machine do their job than do it themselves. You know, this is why I say AI only makes you more of what you are. If you're lazy, whatever you produce or whatever you use AI for is going to turn out like shit. If you're a good person, if you know what you're doing, and if you're trying hard, and if you keep refining, and if you keep doing it properly, AI is just a tool. Like Photoshop. I have seen crap-ass Photoshop. And I have seen some epic Photoshops. There's nothing wrong if you understand the tool and its uses, what it's intended for. And that's the part where we need to understand. These things are tools to be used. I mean, again, you know, hell, most of that, I mean, I wrote the script. Oh, wow. Like, I wrote the script, but I had AI go through and help me organize the idea. So what's the point of having cops? Right. If you do what you're supposed to with the AI, if you work with it, if you know the pitfalls, you can make it work. These research scripts, I use AI to formulate them. Does it sound like I'm AI when I'm talking? I'm honestly asking. I mean, sure, my writing's a little stiff when I'm writing the scripts because I'm trying to get it Bacchanalia, Jason song, exactly. But I'm curious, because I saw that like Hank Green got canceled because he used AI. And that is the dumbest cancellation I've ever heard. Hank Green has been a fixture. And because he got caught and admitted to using AI for some of his scripts and his videos, people freaked out. And it's like, he's always been on the bleeding edge of tech. He's appreciated that. People knee-jerk hating it. Yeah, that's a problem. So I'm honestly curious. I mean, does it matter to you guys? Can you even tell that I use AI to script out some of this stuff? I mean, it doesn't write it for me. I mean, that would be stupid. I couldn't even trust the data. I provide it with the data and I just ask it to put it in a cohesive flow. All the information's mine. Not even a cohesive flow. I just tell it to put it in order, if that makes sense. Because I'm sitting there writing out all of this stuff, taking notes. I just need something to help me put all the notes together. That's why I'm honestly asking, does it sound like I'm using AI when I do this? Like I said, I'm still warming up to my voice and how I want it to sound. But I don't think I sound too stiff or too AI. I don't think it's... Right. Well, I'm not even talking about the music. I'm talking about, the script that I was talking about tonight, these notes. That's what I did. When I write my music, I write my music. Like, I'll be honest about that. I write the lyrics. And then I pick through all these different styles. Like, I have an idea of the style of the music that I want. Hell, sometimes I use Gemini to help me formulate how to get the style of music out of Suno that I want. But I mean, I write the lyrics. I try to write in the timings and stuff for that too. Like, I have almost I should have all of the music written. And me personally, I think if they're singing, right, it's a tool. Use it as a tool. I mean, like I said, kind of in a joking way, Gemini is probably the most ethically sourced of the AIs because we all gave it our information. We all did it. We gave Google our information freely and willingly. We've been training it for decades. And we got it free. And we've got a good tool out of it. I mean, Google search. I mean, it's become its own word, its own verb. I Googled it. Even if you're using DuckDuckGo. Bing, if you're... Who uses Bing? I mean, if I want a meme answer, I go to Bing. Sorry, Green Jeans, didn't make, sorry. I didn't realize somebody uses Bing. I'd suggest using DuckDuckGo. At least that one doesn't track you. But see, I made peace with the fact that I'm okay with Google having my information because it's too late to get my information back from them. I might as well appreciate what I helped make. No, that doesn't count. But anyway, I think I'm gonna let it go for now because I've been going basically, other than the half hour, 45 minutes I took off. I've been going since 5. I think I kind of need a break. I was gonna see if I could go for like another hour, but I don't think I have it. Sorry, guys. Yeah, y'all have a wonderful night. And I hope you enjoyed tonight, and I hope it made you think. Because that's the important part. I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but I hope you guys understand that I want you to think about what I've said. Not do what I've said. Think about it. And see if it's right for you. That's the important part. But either way, I hope you guys have a wonderful night. And I hope to see you here tomorrow. And do not forget, Raven and Ghost are playing Resident Evil something or other, not the boulder punching one. And yes, good night, you beautiful people, and sleep well.